Und so begab es sich, dass ich sofort zu meinem vorherigen Ort zurückkehrte und dass ich meine Ocarina spielte. What am I saying? Welcome back to more Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In the last episode I fell off a cliff, and there's actually one thing I missed here. You need to play, like, the Scarecrow's song in order to get it to, like, show up.
If you do that, then it reveals the way to a Gold Skulltula, and a Gold Skulltula is pretty important for me since I'm going for 100. And it seems I haven't been able to make it show up. Am I gonna have to do a speed montage this early on? Well, it looks like maybe I will have to speed this crap up, because this is just silly. I can't seem to get it right. I'll try it right here. Maybe I'll get it to play right for once. Hopefully, you'd think. Maybe. And it didn't work. Well, that's fantastic, ain't it? Do I gotta move over to the other platform there, to, like, the door? I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't usually go after all 100 Skulltulas. This is kind of a first for me. Or something, but this one is like, this is kind of a pain. Maybe right here? So I get it right now? Here goes nothing. I'm gonna give it a shot to see what happens. And it actually worked. Fantastic. Let's actually go up there now.
My goodness, this video is off to a fantastic start, ain't it? So what you want to do is to just, like, use the hook shot to get over here. In my case, it's the long shot, but I think the hook shot will work. There's a room coming up that, like, you sort of need the long shot, I think, in order to get, like, a trench. But I'm not sure. But anyway, this room contains the Gold Skulltula. Let's go get it. We're making some decent progress with that Gold Skulltula hunt, boy, I tell ya. We already have one Gold Skulltula, and we ain't been that far into the video. But yeah, that's the start of the video. It's just terrible. Had to start it with, like, a speed montage that early on. And there's the following room actually contains yet another Gold Skulltula. So you want to get that one as well. And once you do, then, well, why don't we just move on and, like, get the thing in the room. It's like a treasure or whatever, another chest with some stuff. Not quite sure what it contains, but let's give it a look just to see what's here. Now that we have them two Skulltulas, which, they're kind of well hidden, that should make the rest of these Skulltulas in this dungeon pretty easy to find.
My goodness, I'm going to have to start another speed montage, won't I? Here goes nothing. I'm gonna give it a shot. If this don't work out, then I'm going to be speeding this crap up. You know what? And, well, that didn't really work. So I guess you know what that means. It means a speed montage. Chipmunk time, or something like that. I don't know, but what I would like to see is to be able to open this chest. I don't think I've ever opened this chest, actually. And it looks like I won't be able to open it if I keep up this pattern of horrible playing. Seriously, this is just embarrassing. And I don't know why I'm leaving this in. It's just, I don't think it's really worth editing out that much because, like, I do want to show what it's like getting it. But it's like, I could edit this out, I guess, but it's like, what would that do? It's like, there's no point to it. Or, well, there is a point, actually, but nevertheless, I could just, I find that it would just be best to speed it up. I think you're supposed to use the long shot, so let's try that. Or that could happen. Seriously, that is the worst possible time to be hanging from a cliff. That is just terrible. Here goes it, nothing. I'm gonna give it a second shot. But I can't promise anything, folks. If I don't get it this time, then you can hang me. Or something. I don't know. Okay, strike that. Reverse it. I do not wish to be hanged. Okay, this is not an execution. I don't care what you all think, Internet. But this is not here to be. Well, I'm not here to be for this to turn into a bloodbath. Now I seem to be spouting incoherent nonsense. Maybe soon I'm gonna mention a certain secret cult cabal. But that's unrelated. So that's from a different game. A game called Real Life.
Looks like I'm gonna get it. And I did! I got it! And it's a huge rupee. Well, ain't that just swell? I went through all that crap just to get 200 rupees. Well, I mean, it's not that. It's a pretty decent reward, but I mean, all that for just, like, nothing. And I had to edit stuff out because, like, I ended up running in circles for a while. But yeah, in this episode, we're actually going to do some stuff and, you know, like, get to the thing and find the dungeon item, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna make some significant progress through this dungeon, but I don't think we'll be done by the end of this part. I mean, the boss and whatnot, that's gonna take a decent amount of time, like, and I don't want each episode getting to be too long. But hopefully this won't be too bad. After running around for a bit, I just edited that stuff out, but in this room here, that's actually where we're going to find the way forward, because there's a locked door, and as you can tell, we have 2 keys. And that's going to help us get through here. And this is actually where you gotta find the dungeon item. The coming room is actually kind of interesting, I must admit. It's sort of a maze where you gotta, like, run through various fire. Well, you sort of, like, there are pillars and they'll, like, form a wall of fire to block you for some of the path, and you sort of need to figure out where you need to go. One minor problem with it, though, is that it does kind of take too long. Like, you have to be too close to it for it to actually show up, or for, like, the fire to show up, and that can and will lead you to like, walking into the fire unintentionally because, like, it shows up too late. And that's no good. If you just get through the maze, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But, like, and fortunately I have so many hearts that I can sort of just tank this. And the thing is, like, that does kind of annoy me that, like, you'll end up be walking straight and suddenly you'll be attacked by a wall of fire that just suddenly shows up without any warning. It'd be nice if they showed up, if it appeared sooner, that is. That would definitely make it a lot more manageable, I must say. But this room is still kind of neat. It's nice actually going through a maze for once. I really don't think I have any tactics to, like, get through it. You just sort of wing it, I guess. Because there's no real indication between what path you can go through and which one you can't. So you just gotta make a bet and stick with it. You can also end up running into them a lot. That's seriously annoying. But let's actually head this way, because this actually leads to the compass, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, there's a treasure chest this way, so let's open it, and I'm sure it's the compass, actually, because I don't think the dungeon item would be here. And I guess it is. And with that out of the way, that's going to make finding the rest of the secrets in the dungeon noticeably easier. But as far as I can tell, this path, like, you can't actually go that way, so you gotta find a different route. And that's where our second key comes in. We need it to get past that, because, like, you see the center of the room? that's actually where there's a room that, like, you can enter into. Oh, and also there are some doors that, like, will attack you if you try to open them. That's actually kind of clever. But, yeah, the center of the room has, like, a room where you can head straight through the other end, so what you're supposed to do is to actually get to it from the other side, which is simple enough. I mean, as long as you can get through this maze, it shouldn't be too hard. The room in question will allow us to cross over through to the other side, like, we'll be able to get to the upper part of the room. Upper on the map, that is. And it's pretty easy. And with that, we can actually head to that's actually the way forward. And so let's actually head that way, shall we? There's also a Goron in here. We can actually free him. Think we can do it, like, well, I mean, I know we can, maybe right now. Actually, you know what, let me go back and see whether we can do that or not. I believe there's something involving, like, the upper part of the room. I believe you can actually pull out the Ocarina to play the Song of Time, and not, like, set out a bomb. Like, seriously, I did not intend to drop a bomb. But, like, if you play that, then we should be able to get to the top of it, which should, have some sort of switch, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I believe it's on the other side. But if we go out, then there's another switch, actually. And I remember this because this is one of the major things about the dungeon item, I should say, that you can use. But, yeah. And, well, you want to keep going then, babe, because, well, okay, you don't. Don't listen to a word I say, my advice is horribly unreliable. But, yeah, this way is actually the path that leads to the dungeon item. Don't believe a word I say, because it's horribly unreliable. I mean, like, this part can be kind of tricky. Well, I mean, I know it took me quite a long time, well, longer than I'd like to admit, to get past this part, but basically, that switch kills the wall of fire, and you need to get past it before the time runs out. That took me more time than I care to admit on my first playthrough. It was embarrassing. I mean, I'm doing pretty good so far. I mean, like, we have, like, only 2 deaths so far. I looked at my original file, it had like 80 deaths. It's unbelievable. My original file, like, I sucked really bad. Like, 80 deaths that is just... And I've gotten a lot better, I think, so really, I think it's not that this game is hard. I mean, it was when I first played it, but I mean, I've gotten better, and now I think that this game is fairly easy. I mean, in terms of difficulty, I think, like, A Link to the Past is, like, way harder. Enemies just hit for way more damage in that game, even with your highest weapon, like your highest armor upgrades, they do like a ton of damage in A Link to the Past. But would you believe me if I told you that even A Link to the Past isn't the hardest in the series? That honor would probably have to go to Zelda 2, which I actually like because of its challenge. Like, it will butcher you. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played, but my goodness, it sure is enjoyable because of that. That's kind of the thing that gets me about a lot of modern Zelda games, is that they're kind of too easy. I mean, it really started with the Wind Waker, because it's like, with that game, the bosses were just pathetic, and the game itself was pretty easy as well. And then Twilight Princess came along and made it even easier. Skyward Sword was, like, I think kind of harder, but I mean, and it was nice that they introduced a hero mode in that game where the damage you'd take is doubled, but it is still kinda easy. And that's kind of the thing. I think difficulty in Zelda games would help me get invested more because it makes the stakes feel more real. And that's why I like A Link to the Past and Zelda 2. And believe me, like, if Skyward Sword were, like, harder, then I'd say it would have been noticeably more enjoyable. And in terms of difficulty, like sure, Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time, they're not exactly the hardest games of all time. I've played many harder games, but still, they're not exactly a cakewalk either. It's sort of middle ground, but it's serviceable. You know what I mean? That's one thing I hope about Breath of the Wild. Like, I hope it's actually harder than previous games in the series. Like, I don't mean like I'm hoping Zelda 2 levels of difficulty, but like harder than a lot of the more recent entries. Because that would, I think, make it enjoyable in a way. And I'm not saying that, like, difficulty is, like, the only thing that helps me enjoy it. Like, and it's not the only thing that goes into making a great Zelda game. There are a lot of things. But, yeah, all of this talk about game difficulty, I didn't even get to mention. This is actually the Megaton Hammer, the dungeon item. It's going to help us a lot, but I guess that's all for this episode. This is the Mississippi King signing out. And in the next episode, we'll continue the Fire Temple, like we'll finish it. So see y'all then.